All right, welcome back, everyone, to Black Mirror. It's been over a year since the last episode, Striking Vipers.
We had to take a year break after that. Whew, it's
Yeah,
this is kind of a little too crazy.
it was pretty fun fighting game type situation. Turned,
A
turned,
fighting game type situation. Fighting game type feeling kind of way.
homies type, turned lovers story,
Yeah.
turned, yeah, struggling
Or
marriage.
not. It was weird. It was a weird
I
episode.
fucked the
And
bear character and all that.
it's a little, yeah. I guess you might as well try it.
That was actually ahead of its time because now people are doing that in Baldur's Gate 3.
Hell yeah! There you go.
That guy he was like, he got so desperate he was fucking the bear character to try to get some
Yeah.
excitement. But it wasn't the same as it was with his homie. So,
Yeah, right. The CPU doesn't. It doesn't. Oh no! I guess he was meeting like other people online or something, right?
I don't know.
Something like that. I don't
It
know.
might have been the CPU, but
Whatever.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so Black Mirror, we've been going through Black Mirror episodes. I've seen all of them up through season 5. All right, so this one, the next one, are the last two that I've seen. But I've been showing Alec for the first time, and once we hit season 5, we decided not to do them like in weekly batches, but just kind of whenever we get a chance. Didn't anticipate it being quite so long after the last episode, but Black Mirror, you can do that kind of thing with Black Mirror since it's an anthology series. It doesn't do too much harm. You don't have to really remember what happened last episode too clearly, even though we do, and we remember well. But this is episode 2 of season 5, Black Mirror, called Smithereens. That's what it's called.
Smithereens. Okay.
Yes.
Doesn't I'll blow you to smithereens.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to say before we get into it?
Well, season 5 off to a little bit of a rough start. But hopefully this episode can stand a little taller than the last one.
I think it's good. I'm kind of surprised I had it as low as it is because I always remember it well, but yeah, I have it below.
It was memorable. It was
ranking.
memorable. Yeah, it's below National Anthem in my rankings too.
There's like bottom 6, like right outside the bottom 5.
Bottom 5 for me.
I don't necessarily feel that way. But also looking at all the episodes above it, I kind of like all of them. So that's also an element. Like the bottom 5 episodes of Black Mirror do I really like dislike, if anything.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say I made the comparison about I think with it has some elements of what I liked in San Junipero, and like there's elements of Striking Vipers that I really liked a lot, but I just thought the execution was just weird and strange and all over the place, and I thought San Junipero is just such a much better story. I think that was a huge one of the lasting sentiments I had in the last episode we were talking about.
I have San Junipero very high. I have it in the top 5, so it's on the opposite side for me.
Yeah, it's actually just at 7 for me, but
7.
I still think I hold all of those episodes, that basically everything from just basically my top 8 are probably those are probably all episodes that I love of the show.
Yeah.
So San Junipero is there. So
yeah, I would say.
And there's episodes that I like, and then episodes that I'm not overly fond of.
In my top 10, I really like, and then there's like 5 or 6 in the middle, which I like parts of and don't like parts of, and then the bottom 5 are don't like as much. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. It was a 3-episode season. We do do reviews at the end of each season as well, it was always weird when there's these short seasons too. But
yeah,
see how it shapes up. All right. So as always,
the British TV way.
Yeah.
Short seasons.
Yeah, even though it's gotten less British in ways,
Yeah.
You got like Americanized in season.
Anthony Mackie in the last episode.
Yeah. So as always, you can click the link in the description to see the highlights of our reaction and come back afterwards for the discussion. Okay.
All right. See you then.
back. There you go. It's Smithereens. What do you think?
Smithereens. I really like that a lot. I don't know. It's not exactly the most Black Mirror-y episode. It's a lot more grounded, I would say,
Mm.
than a lot of the other ones. There's not like any wild sci-fi particular elements. It's very much grounded in reality. It's maybe a little on the nose in terms of its sort of commentary about like addiction to social media.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, I
Because
mean, yeah.
I kind of predicted that kind of early on. Like the reason he wants to talk to him after he said that it's like, oh, they found out that his wife died in a drunk driver accident. It's like, I bet he was like looking at his phone. He
Yeah.
was on Billy Bauer's app when that happened, and he wants to talk to him about it. Like I thought, I kind of predicted that as soon as that kind of came up, and yeah, that's what happened. Um, but it's kind of a crafted story with that, even though it is kind of on the nose and kind of apparent. I mean, all the performances were spectacular. In particular, our lead, Chris, who's played by I can't remember the guy's name. They popped up at the beginning there. I don't remember at the
Andrew
credits,
Scott.
but yeah, I think he was phenomenal. I think the young man that was he had his hostage
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. I think they both had fantastic performances. And then I also liked, yeah, Topher Grace did a great job too.
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah, so it's
so
like,
it does kind of hang on those performances. So it's not like the most like exciting, I guess, episode of Black Mirror in a lot of elements, but I really liked it a lot. I don't know, enjoyed
okay,
it.
cool. Within like the first 10 minutes, they get you to this spot, and then you're
Yeah,
there the entire movie. It's the standoff, so it's very
yeah,
like limited in scope. You know, you get these
mm,
little snapshots when it as I guess is the intention. You know, you're jumping through the social media and through your different lines of dialogue to the different people in their spots of the world. But and you see Billy Bauer off in a silent retreat and whatnot. Yeah, yeah, I would say it's a little bit overly simplified, like the message of social
yeah.
media, because like it's been done so much, and even Black Mirror has done stuff like that already, like being in your
Honestly,
phone.
You know what episode this reminds me of the most?
Mm.
The national anthem.
Yeah,
Because the national
yeah.
anthem is all about media manipulation and media control. This is about like social media like control manipulation. It's
Hmm.
like it's handled in a slightly different way, but I think it's very similar in terms of how like it is down to the basics. Like this is what this episode is about.
Yeah,
Um
pretty bare bones, like yeah.
mhm.
But yeah, the only issue that I have with this one is like I get the impact. It's effective, like his call with Billy Bauer, because it's like really
Mm,
just needed to get this off his chest kind of thing.
mhm.
But it's like really this all this like for like it was completely his fault. I mean, at least he took accountability for it. But it's like
Yeah.
I heard you made these things addictive on purpose or whatever. It's like okay, maybe, but it's like really what about their design made you have to pick up the phone to see a comment in response to a photo or whatever it was? You know, it's like that's like nothing to do with Billy Bauer. I don't know why you wanted to speak to Billy Bauer so much. I don't know. It's,
I mean, I kind of I'm in two halves of it here because I think that it's maybe a little contrived in terms of like the extreme example here. I almost feel like you could have played into the idea of the addiction better than just like um checking my phone while I don't know, maybe it could have been made more complicated than that. Like maybe it wasn't like it could have been like something with like her or like her because he said they were both addicted, right? So maybe it was could have been like something with like her distracting him or something with it, you know, while he was driving and then he was like looking and you know, they could have been I was feeling like there could have been like more of a complicated layer to it in terms of that.
right, because
Because it's like the because it doesn't really get more deeper than like social media is addictive and it is made that way, like intentionally. And it's like, yeah, that's all true. It is very sinister in that way. But like um yeah, it doesn't go any like yeah, it just doesn't really go much deeper than that. And I think that's kind of the that does sort of like kind of like what you said. Is it really like that? It is almost like a. Is that it? You just wanted to voice it to him because he's the guy that made the thing.
Right. Because it's like there's no way you really blame a guy who made a social media account for looking at your phone in that moment when it's like the same outcome is accomplished by
Well,
the idea of texting and driving. There was no more like addictive nature than just the idea of you're hooked on your phone more than even just the social media.
no, I do disagree with that. I think this is where I think the writing of it could have used more of a science and psychology behind social media addiction because like the way it's presented is basically just like he's just checking his it could have been a text message easily like
Mm-hmm.
with as like with how it's presented because I think
Could be one of those ads for
the
texting drivers, like one look down for
yeah
like LOL,
right
and then you're
right
yeah.
right yeah and that's where I think they could have done a better they could have done something more with that idea like maybe there was like a I don't know. Maybe there could have been something like where it's like, oh, he was too addicted that he wasn't. He like maybe he was like on his phone, and then she was like, oh, take me somewhere, and then he said no, and then she get killed by a drunk driver, like something like that. And then he could have still blamed himself because it's like I killed her because I wasn't there. I didn't.
Mm.
All I cared about was this thing. So to me, it's like he admits that it's his fault, but like his complaint. I agree because like the complaint was like, well, it was my fault, though it's your fault. It is, you did
Made it
your
too
whole design got
addictive.
me
It's
addicted
like
to this thing.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
and
kind
it's
of a
like
reach in that
it's a
instance.
reach in that I would, yeah, and the way that it's written in this instance, I would say it's a bit more of a reach. That I think this they could have used maybe a little bit more tweaking there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I agree. I agree that it is maybe a little too simplistic for its own good. Um,
But where
um,
it does shine is the actual conversation and the like little subversion to where it's like we spent all this time trying to work up the ladder to get to Billy Bauer, so you expect Billy Bauer to be like the most despicable one there. It's like he's
right.
not gonna give a fuck, and you actually get some empathy from him, and then after the fact you get
Yeah,
a little empathetic moment from the guy who he actually held hostage. It's like, oh, that's a nice
yeah.
little change of pace.
Right. Like there's this weird understanding that they have there. I mean, it was kind of funny. Like I think the comedic notes here also worked really well. Like the is essentially tinges of like kind of dark humor
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you've got yeah you've got like the he all of a sudden starts going off on how he's tied down by the executives and they make all these decisions. Well, it's just like I don't care. Like shut up. Like don't.
Yeah.
This was my time to talk, and now you're taking it. Um and there's like a few little moments of that where it's just like sprinkled in like just little like left turns kind of quickly to have a little joke and then coming back to the plot. Um so that felt very Charlie Brooker to me in terms of like that's very much a staple of his writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, no, I think the performances and to me it is almost there though back to the simplicity of it that maybe is kind of the point that it was like there isn't anything more complicated than I just wanted like
People to hear
because
me.
for whatever reason it is yeah he just wanted whatever reason in his mind he just wanted someone to hear him and it's like who's going to hear him most, who's going to proclaim this most from the most rooftops than the guy who runs this huge social media platform. So I
Yeah.
guess in whatever break in his logic
He's
that
planning to
was
kill
made from that.
himself anyway, so it's not like he's
Yeah,
he's trying to get much out of it. It's just kind of like get
yeah,
get his thoughts out there, get it off his chest because also he's been having it like inside this whole time because they blamed it on the other guy for being drunk. So even looking at his fiance's mom and everything, and like
Hmm.
knowing that you were the one who caused it and everything. So he's had it all pent up all this time, and
Mm.
so he just goes on this. What was the name of the app? Hitcher. He goes on
Pitcher,
Hitcher
right?
and just like keeps getting people until he gets an employee of that company.
Right.
So I wonder how many
Uh,
days. I guess he was always planning whenever he gets someone that will be his last day, and he just kept
mm,
trying, kept trying.
mm.
Another big thematic through line is the idea of like the privacy of social media
Oh
apps and
yeah.
the invasiveness of it and whatnot. How it's like they made a very clear point to be like we're getting the information quicker than the authorities are, like on these people.
Right.
So that's a bit on the nose as well, but you know
Yeah.
I get it, especially
I think for because
yeah,
this is like 2018, right? I think
it's more on
privacy
that
concerns have
time.
always privacy concerns have always been like a big talking point, but I would say it's within the last 5 years that it's been like a much more pointed concern. Like a
Right.
much more like there's been a lot more like legal stuff going on with the privacy concerns. Um I mean there's been talk about like the role social media has played in terms of like international interference on elections and the stances and the positions that the different social media platforms have played in that. Um, that's so there's like that's like a huge the basically having information on people, being able to build out a profile on people. Like they knew stuff about him before they even like knew stuff about him, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's this crazy, it's the algorithm, quote unquote, But it's this crazy that they can just build out. They know who you are. They don't even have to necessarily all have all that much specific data about you, but they can build out who you are based on like search history. Um,
Yeah.
like even by stuff like the words you use. It's kind of insane, and that's sort of where it starts to get like super creepy. Um,
And in this one,
and
they could tap into a direct feed of what he's looking at,
yeah,
scrolling. It's like, oh, we can see he's
yeah,
looking at this right now.
right. That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. And there's a reason
Mm-hmm.
that I don't really use Facebook all that much anymore. Basically, the most I use Facebook is just like occasional doom scrolling and the messengers.
Hmm.
It's just an easier like messaging app that I have connections on. So, but
Yeah. So yeah, in this world
yeah.
we've got Hitcher is the Uber.
Hmm.
We've got Smithereen, which is a very weird name for a social media app, right? Like I don't really get
Yeah,
what they're going for there,
you blow it to smithereens, I guess.
but why?
Well, it's like pieces. It's like all tiny
They're
pieces
all
in like
tiny
maybe
pieces of yes, the grand
of like
social
that
media.
have scattered out from something. I don't know.
And
It's
then you
like
got
boom! It's an explosion.
Persona. Persona's badass.
Persona. Yeah,
That's a
that's
badass social media name.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That's. I mean, it's probably yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
helped in our minds by, of course, the Persona games,
Yeah.
which is very
It still
very fun.
sounds
But
cool. I mean, it probably is
it does. Yeah.
that, but yeah, Persona. All right.
Yeah. It's like ooh, it's you put on a yeah. So yeah. There's this little side plot of like the that woman trying to get the information of her deceased daughter and not being able to, and that sort of comes back around. I
It
actually really
was
liked how that came back around in the end there. That was kind of a nice little button
right. So they were in like
ended
this.
on.
Was it like a grief counseling thing or
Hmm.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
there,
something like that. Yeah, just like
and
group therapy,
then
basically. Yeah,
they had no chemistry whatsoever, but smash cut to sex as always.
yeah.
You know, it's just and then it was just
You know,
on.
it's kind of it's very much an any port in the storm kind of a situation.
Yeah,
It's just like
it's
we
been
both
too
need to get
long.
that out. Like, yeah, I need to get that off my chest type
She
thing.
wanted to make
Or,
him come
well, not
too.
chest, but yeah,
If we really got to
yeah,
break down that part. So she's on him moaning. Yes, like an in-depth
yeah.
breakdown.
That's
And
that's
then
pretty. That's pretty impressive. That's actually, I mean, that's I guess to his credit, I guess he lasts long. Maybe it's just he's depressed and it's not his fiance,
yeah,
and
she's on top of him,
maybe that's part of it. Yeah.
and she got
So
it.
she's
But she wants to make
yeah,
him
she got
come,
it.
but he's like, "Give me a
Well,
second, I need a breather."
hey,
It's been a while.
just like men, women are all different. Some women can get off really quickly. Some take a really long
Oh
time.
yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And we will go deeper into an analysis in a separate video where we
yeah,
go into
yeah.
the Black
Separate
Mirror deep dive, sex deep
the
dive.
Black Mirror smash cut deep
We'll
dive.
analyze every sex scene and like who's the best lover in the Black Mirror universe. We're gonna find out.
uh, but yeah, that sort of
Yeah,
buttons around at the end where he's able to broker a little bit of information for her
yeah, like
from
any little thing I can do for you. He's like,
yeah.
you know, the creator persona. He's like, oh, Curtis, I know him. Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
we're in the social media owner group chat, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He got it to him quick. Got it to her.
He did apparently, yeah. Well, Curtis was probably keeping tabs and everything, so he
Curtis
might be a
had a line
rival,
in
but
there too. Yeah, get a
Curtis had
line
a
to
line. He's
Curtis.
like, yeah, yeah,
It
get
really
him.
the technology they had over at Smithereen to just freaking patch
Yeah,
everybody in. Like they had this one phone
yeah,
call going 3 different ways. It's like,
yeah.
oh,
Direct line to
geez.
the FBI. Yeah,
Yeah. They had like
but
their
I
call
actually,
with him. They had that. Then they had like, oh, we're sending him this playlist, but we can still hear on his end.
yeah,
Then we got FBI
right,
coming in, hearing this also, and then we
right.
send it
That is
to
all
Billy
insane.
Bauer. Yeah.
Yeah. I did circle back to what you said before, but I also really like the subversion of like that Billy Bauer was actually probably the most human person that he talked to. Him and his hostage, like the most human people he talked to. Like he legitimately was like, no, I like let's maybe listen to him.
Right.
Like just like that's usually not always a good idea, but like considering that like the where the stakes are and where we're at, like
Yeah.
maybe I should just talk to him just to get this over with
And he was all
more
vibes.
quickly.
They were like,
Yeah,
what if like as soon as you're on the line, then he executes the hostage, and he's like, I don't get that feeling, you
yeah,
know. And Penelope, what
right.
was her name? Penelope. Yeah,
Yeah, Penelope. Yeah,
Penelope Wu. She was like, we can't go based on feelings. And then
yeah,
he was getting pissed
not at
off.
all.
Everybody's talking back to him like, everybody catch this disease? Like, I didn't ask anybody. It was get this patch me in. But he was talking, he was venting to him on the line as well. He was like, I was planning on quitting anyway after this silent retreat really got him thinking about it. So what do you think? What do you think about a silent retreat? I think I've always
Uh,
loved, like, I think there's something really therapeutic to having like some sort of like retreat away from, like, that idea is always appealing to me. Just like be away from people for a while, just to myself. I don't know if it would go quite
yeah,
as
I mean,
silent as he would. I feel like I'm just like
mm,
love a lot of things that involve technology. So I could see like no social media, obviously, no, like that could do that, but
mm,
I don't know. Like the idea of even just retreating to like a little log cabin with just myself and some like books or and journals or something.
mm.
Like I could see that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was there was a video that Broad in Japan did. It was a few months ago now, but it was like he and Connor went for a weekend out in the most. It's like a super remote place out in Japan, sort of northern Japan, and not Hokkaido, not on the North Island, but it was on the mainland and or the main island. And it was yeah, they didn't have like any. There was no Wi-Fi, no cell service. It was like very intentionally super remote,
Mm-hmm.
and also it was like all lamplit. There's no electricity in any of the cabins, so it's all like lamps and kerosene
Hmm.
for the heat.
Okay.
So like that to me, I would probably wouldn't want to go there in winter like they did because that seemed like it was probably pretty cold. But and kerosene heat's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, but like that, all of that still seemed like it was something just very generally relaxing about the idea of like not having any technology. Like obviously they filmed a whole video around it, but they didn't have like cell service or anything. So it was all just the only technology they had was like the recording equipment. They couldn't contact anybody or call anyone or anything like that. And yeah, there's a beauty to the simplicity, I think, in terms of getting out there.
It's like a nice retreat or like escape. The most I've
Yeah.
ever done in that regard is like I've gone to a hotel for like a couple days by myself, just keep
Hmm.
it to myself. I just think it's like a nice mental reset sometimes to do something like that.
Yeah.
And not be also
I've
like go 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 about other stuff. And especially if I
right.
got Smithereen money, you can catch me doing that regularly. I'm like doing that every few months or something. Just retreat to, especially like some remote location like that. Just go to
Mm.
different locations. Do that. I would do that for sure. And
I've
what?
sort of floated that idea around actually for some time, just like going out for a weekend, like a weekend up to Maine or something by myself. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
that inspired partially by one of my housemates did that last winter, but also because my folks are, my folks live like 500 miles away now, so like if so I can't like go spend a weekend with them so much anymore. So it's like that's up to me to kind of make my own, take my own
Right.
sort of vacation, do my own sort of thing. So
I think it would be nice. I mean, obviously, going
yeah,
away with people, like one person or multiple people, that's fun too. But that's obviously a completely different thing. That's just for a fun time
totally. Yeah, like
but
I get together a few times a year with we're trying to do it at least once a year. We've done it, or we're trying to do it at least once every few months. We were only able to do it once this year, unfortunately, but getting together with our my college group, so like Dubs and that whole gang,
hmm
all those people, is getting together with them, renting a place and just hanging out for a weekend. So
yeah,
um yeah, there's
that's
a
fun
really
too.
nice sort of, yeah, but
I've always thought though, if I go
yeah.
by myself to something like that, I would do like maybe bring books and then do some like journaling. I feel like for some reason that's always been appealing to me. Just like write my
Mm,
thoughts that come to
mm,
me, maybe different inspirations for things. But yeah, so I mean, that's a nice luxury to have that Billy Bauer had to
yeah.
do a 10-day silent
Yeah,
retreat.
yeah. Yeah, 10 day silent
Said,
retreat,
leave me
yeah.
alone. I'm like the owner of this company. Just
Yeah,
leave me alone for 10
yeah.
days. I'm
Right.
going to off the grid
Right.
in Furnace Valley. So, but yeah, overall, this is not one of my favorite episodes. I get the appeal and there are parts of it that I really like, but
Hmm.
overall, it doesn't have as much depth to it as some of the other ones I prefer. So,
Yeah, to me, it's sort of like it's kind of in the middle because I think a lot of a lot of its strengths are really really strong, and I think at the same time some of those strengths are also weaknesses that kind of hold it back. So, um, but really can't say anything negative about the performances. I think those are all pretty spectacular
yes,
across the board.
and it's a bit of a British return to form for Black Mirror, huh?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. It was very British. A lot of the police. I mean, we obviously
notedly
have a lot of
British,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, but we had a lot of stuff with the American side is actually kind of that's kind of like the gross side of things, the social media empire, all that kind of privacy concerns. But yeah, I liked how focused, at least for the first probably like 20 minutes, probably the first third of it was very focused on just the British aspect of everything.
British ass
So
police.
it was.
See, and it was all coincidental. Nice
Yeah,
call by the policewoman in the gas at the gas station. Just happened to look up
yeah.
at that time to see
They
that
just
hey,
happened to looked up at the same time. Yeah.
no,
Sometimes that's all you need to do. You just have to have your you have to have your blinders up and just focus in on stuff
I mean
sometimes.
it worked out for what our main guy. What's his name? Do you remember? The Christopher,
Chris,
right?
Christopher.
Chris. It worked
Yeah,
out for what he was trying to do, I guess. But I guess
yeah.
he was meaning to just like drive around until he got. I actually don't know. Yeah, where I don't know where he planned on going, but
No, who knows? He was, yeah. I don't know if he was just kind of like he had no idea. He basically had no idea what to do after the guy was like, "I'm just an intern." And it was just like,
yeah,
okay, this is a problem
I
now.
imagine he would have tried the same thing to just get him on the line with someone, but he had
Yeah,
like the
right.
bag over the head. I don't know like where he was planning on taking him to do that to begin with.
maybe back to his house, because they weren't. I don't think they were that far away from his house. So maybe he was like planning on trying to get back there at least, so he could like focus in
Right.
and think like that, because that was a whole thing where he's just like, I can't think. So
Yeah. He was a mess, you know. So
oh yeah,
it was nice they didn't like paint him in a completely horrible light. You know, they humanized him in ways that were important. You know, he got to tell his story, and it's like, okay,
I think
he's angry and he's showing it in maybe not the most level-headed way, but he's
yeah, I think that's what I found so compelling about it, is because it's like, this guy, he's not like, he's doing a really horrible thing right now, like horrible thing, but he's like, there's just something so compelling about, like, I want to know like what's behind it. Like he doesn't seem like he's evil, like, right, like
mm-hmm.
he's doing he's doing this for some reason, and it's just like, it's such an interesting, like, I want to know why. I want to peel back the layers to figure out what's going on here. So
He was much more, yeah. He had a much more negative perception of him in the beginning when you didn't know anything about him. He's just like looking
yeah,
like a
he just
freak.
seems super. He looked he looked like a freak. He
Or
was.
his
He was like staring
suspect,
at people, and he was.
yeah, all these
I was like,
suspect
"What are you
rides he's
doing?"
doing, and then yeah, he did that nice. Oh, this is there's construction going on here. I'm gonna take a detour. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Nothing
where he
shady
like
to see
just
here.
stuff around. I'm like, oh, he's targeting people from this company, and why? I don't know, but yeah. So,
So
and then
yeah,
I ended up really also just liking the very end, where it's like, it doesn't, you don't know the ultimate result of like what happened.
yeah,
Like, they don't really tell you,
that's true.
and the point is, it doesn't matter because everyone just moves on anyways.
Yeah, yeah, it was
And
all just a quick,
that's so horrifying, really, to think about, because that's, I act that way, everybody acts that way,
right.
right? And I think that's
Quick glance at the
tragic.
phone headline.
Mm,
As you
yeah.
do, you have your sound
Like,
on with the honk honk notification sound.
yeah, nah, hell nah. Yeah, get out of here with that.
It's
If
so
look,
obnoxious.
you I'm coming after you if you have that honk honk on your notifications.
Something about, is it just me? Am I the only person who doesn't like, either I'm the only person who doesn't have the sound on their phone, or this is just this movie and show thing where everybody's got the sound on all the time, making ding ding or bong. Woohoo.
So I have the sound on for my work phone, and I hate it. But the reason that I have that is because, like, I would literally never look at my work phone
Mm-hmm.
for the things unless I had that on.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It pisses me off because I it drives me up the wall. Like, it legitimately does. I hate getting notifications I have an email. I hate having my ringtone go off. I hate it. My personal phone, everything's on vibrate.
Yeah,
The
especially
only
like I'm
time
in
that
public, I'm never gonna have my phone on, the sound on. But every movie,
hell no.
every show, you're like in a cafe.
Yeah.
It's like bing bing or dong. Jeez, lighten up a
Yeah,
bit.
my parents have like a it's like it sounds like Woody Woodpecker. Like, it's like that's very weird. It's just like, every time it happens, I'm like, what's going on? What's happening over there?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's always bothered me. I don't like it either.
and I don't feel like it's the, yeah, like where I go, I don't feel like I'm hearing people's phones all the time. It's like every now and then. It's usually like an older person who has their sound on, like it's like a
Yeah.
full blast like ringtone,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, let me find this thing. But
Yeah, none of my I don't know what either of my housemates if what their notification tones are. No idea what they are, because they
yeah.
have it set to vibrate also.
Yeah, the only time I ever have it on is if like if I'm not setting an alarm and I like I want someone's call to wake me up or something, or like I
Mm,
really want to know when someone gets back to me and something. But that's at home, you know. Yeah,
yeah,
if anything.
not out in public. No, screwed up.
All right, so we want to rank the episode among the Black Mirror episodes.
I think so. I think I know where I'm gonna place it.
Or you want to run through
So,
your current ranking along
so
with.
my current ranking is Playtest, White Christmas, Entire History of You, USS Callister, Hang the DJ, Nosedive, San Junipero, 15 Million Merits, Be Right Back, Hated in the Nation, Shut Up and Dance, Crocodile, Black Museum, Bandersnatch, White Bear, National Anthem, Striking Vipers, Men Against Fire, Archangel, The Waldo Moment, and Metalhead.
Okay.
Um,
what are you thinking with this one? And tell me, is like that if it's like top whatever, bottom whatever, because it's hard to remember. So we have 20. It looks like 21 episodes so far.
We have 21. Well, this is going pretty much smack dab in the middle. I'm putting it. I think I'm putting it just after Shut Up and Dance. So it's maybe not quite smack dab. I was torn between Hating the Nation, Shut Up and Dance. I may have put it above Crocodile. Similar themes. Crocodiles we're also following a criminal around.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna stick by it. I think Crocodile has more strengths to it, but I like this. I like this episode just a little bit more. So that this episode is called Smithereens.
So that makes it rank number what out of 22?
That is ranked 1, 2, 3, 12 out of 22.
12 out of 22. All right, I think I'm significantly lower on it, and the spot that's. Well, let me run through mine first. Yeah. So my ranking currently: Hang the DJ, Playtest, White Christmas, The Entire History of You, San Junipero, 15 Million Merits, USS Callister, Nosedive, Shut Up and Dance, Be Right Back, Hated in the Nation, Crocodile, White Bear, Black Museum, National Anthem, Striking Vipers, Bandersnatch, Men Against Fire, Archangel, Waldo Moment, Metalhead. The point that's actually sticking out to me is right below Striking Vipers. So
okay,
that'll put it at number 17 out of 22. All right, so
yeah, quite a bit lower than me.
Because I actually enjoyed Striking Vipers a little bit more. A little bit more than this one, but not too much more. But it's definitely better than Bandersnatch, I think. So that's like my cutoff point.
Definitely better than Bandersnatch. Yeah, I actually think I want to move Bandersnatch down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna move that down below National Anthem. You know what? Screw that. I'm moving it below Striking Vipers. I'm surprised I had it so high, honestly.
So what's that put it at now?
So that puts that at bottom 5.
Bottom 5. Yeah, mine is at bottom 5 right now. So
yeah. Which bumps Striking Vipers up. A little bit more respect to Striking Vipers.
Do you think Striking Vipers also is like a euphemism for like penises? I just thought of this.
It might be.
They're striking each other's vipers. So I don't know.
Yeah. They're sword fighting. Yeah.
But we might be due for a little like tier list moment for Black Mirror one of these days.
I think we might be. I think once we. I think what'll be a good idea once we get to. I don't know why I'm doing this. Once we get down to once we finish the next episode, I think that's when we should tier list it up for Black Mirror.
Because especially since with these, we haven't even like really revisited our thoughts on some of these episodes for literally years. So
yeah,
it could be good to like really talk about each one. Because I think even some of my some are like out of my top 10 are really good ones. Like I keep thinking back to Be Right Back, and I think that's a really good episode. And I have it like right in the middle, but I just think there's a lot of like good things we could highlight about a lot of these episodes, going like a little retrospective on them. So that would probably be a pretty long video though too.
It would be pretty long. Yeah, we're talking about a lot of episodes of television.
It'll be 23 episodes at that point.
Yeah.
And then there's season 6, so get on to that. But anyway, next episode is the famous Rachel, Jack, and Ashley 2. So that will be the next one we watch and discuss.
Yeah, it was the only episode of Black Mirror I knew anything about ahead of time, and I still don't really know all that much about it. I just know that people don't like it, and it has Miley Cyrus in it. That's all I know.
Yeah, I've said
So
before that I do think it's my least favorite episode of Black Mirror ever, and
yeah,
it would be interesting to revisit it. I've only watched it once, but
yeah.
so
Can it be
maybe it
worse than
was
Metalhead? That's going to be the real
right.
question, I think.
Maybe it was a little harsh on it, especially when we go into it
Yeah.
for a discussion as well. There might be more to break down than I remember, but we'll see.
Mm,
We'll
mm,
see. But that again, it's whenever we get a chance, really, just like any of our series. If we when we get the chance to fit it in, we'll do so.
right.
Try to be quicker than between the last two episodes for sure.
Yeah, we definitely want to be. I because I really, like I said, I really enjoyed coming back to this world again. I know not one of your favorite episodes. I liked it quite a bit. But it's still good to watch an episode of the show. Still,
Yeah.
even when it's bad, I'm still having a an okay time, I guess.
Yeah. So when
So,
we get to that episode, we'll rank that episode. Then we'll do a season 5 review based on those 3
mhm,
episodes, and then we can do the full tier list after that. That'll be good. All right.
be good.
If our
All
viewers
right.
enjoyed this video, what video should they watch next?
Um, well, go back and check out our Hang the DJ uh, kind of discussion and review.
That's my
I
favorite
think
episode.
I it's your favorite episode. It's one that like I think I wasn't maybe as hot on it watching it, but like the more time goes by, like the more I think about that episode probably probably more than most of these other ones. I think about
Probably
that
every
episode a
day.
lot. I think about it every day. I think about it. I'm
Every day
going to
before
work.
I
I
go
was
to
just there. It
sleep,
is. Hang the DJ.
it just comes to
I
mind.
play Hang the DJ. I playing the song Hang the DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I do think about that episode more than a lot of the episodes in the show.
Talk
So
about stuck in your phone, though, right? Hang the
yeah,
DJ.
really
It's really
Hang the
a lot
DJ. It's
going
great.
on in the phone there. So
Yeah,
yeah, check that out. Subscribe to the channel for
yeah,
more Black Mirror and movie reviews, game reviews, discussions, fun series that we got going on, shenanigans, all that. Survivor every week. All right. And until
stuff.
next
Yeah,
time, take care of yourself. All
yeah,
right. And keep your eyes on the road. All right.
yeah. Geez, don't text and drive.